What's up, guys? Coming at you today with a full Sunday of Week 4 NFL football action here on September 28th. I'm going to give out picks on every single game today. We're going to look at plays against the spread and a few over-under spots, and I'll give you my favorite underdog and my massive lock of the day. So buckle up, we have a great video for you today. Slam that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on these videos that we're posting here every single day. And comment down below with anything you're looking at across any sports today. I'm more than happy to get back to you. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injuries and player availability being confirmed. Last week, guys, things went pretty okay. Not exactly what we had in mind. We did end up going 3-3. Cashed the Colts at -4.5, a nice win for them. They continue to stay red hot. We cashed the Vikings at -3, backup quarterback, no problem there. Unfortunately, we were on Dallas and we were on the Falcons, so those two let us down for sure. The Texans also couldn't come through as our dog of the day. Some kind of bad luck, but also some kind of ineffective play there in their loss against the Jaguars. But we did cash our massive lock of the day with Seattle at -7. That game was over right out of the gates, honestly. They absolutely destroyed the Saints. So a 3-3 day, that's not exactly what we had in mind, but it's not terrible. And the premium members did way better than us last week there on week 4 premium NFL picks. So definitely we'll recap that here in a little bit. But we've got a very busy Sunday out there, guys. A ton of games to cover. So we're going to dive right in. And first up, we're looking at some unusual circumstances here. We've got the Dublin game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they're going to be playing this one in Dublin, Ireland. The Vikings come into this game 2-1 on the year. They did have that loss to Atlanta, but got off to a good start to the year, a 27-24 win over Chicago. Then last week they came through with that 48-10 blowout win there against Cincinnati, and I will say I definitely called that one. I'm pretty happy with that prediction. I said Carson Wentz was going to go out there and look great, and he looked very good. He completed 14 of 20 passes, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times, and I know that was against the Bengals' terrible defense, but still a very solid game from him, a very solid game there from Jordan Mason. He had a really good time there, 16 carries, 116 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. And I will mention his longest rush there was 24 yards, so he was grinding out gains on every single attempt. We liked what we saw from Justin Jefferson. Seems like him and Wentz have a pretty good connection there. So honestly, things looked really good. Now, things are always going to look good for your offense when you're going against the Bengals defense, but things also looked good for the Vikings defense, showing that Jake Browning, clearly not a starting level NFL quarterback, picking him off twice, only giving up 140 passing yards. They also stopped the running game completely there. They generated a bunch of fumbles, recovered 3 of them, so a very good day for the Vikings there across the board. And they're having a really good season, obviously. Now, the injury situation, J.J. McCarthy still being out with that ankle injury, I think is overall a good thing for this team. Donovan Jackson is going to be out for this game, so they will be missing their starting left guard, but I don't think that's the end of the world here going up against the Steelers, but we'll see. On defense, they're almost fully healthy. They will be missing 1 starting linebacker, but other than that, their defense is ready to go, and this Vikings defense has been excellent this season. Now, the Steelers, they come into this game 2-1 on the season, but when you look at their record and you look at the teams they've played, kind of makes sense. They barely managed to beat the Jets in week 1, got blown out by the Seahawks in week 2, and then edged past New England 21-14 last week. They do get the win, so congrats on that, but I'm not exactly stoked with what I saw from them in this game. I mean, like I said, they do get the win, but not a banner day across the board. Rodgers got picked off once, only passed for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Seems very scared to take any sort of hit or to run the ball or anything. Like, it's just not looking great out there, which is what you would expect out of a 1,000-year-old quarterback. Only, like a season and a half or 2 seasons. It depends on how you want to do the math, but he's not that far removed from an Achilles injury, and let's be honest, he's old. Now, the running game also hasn't looked good for the Steelers at all. Only, 47 yards there from Jaylen Warren last week? Like, come on, that is not going to get the job done. Defensively, they only gave up 14 points, so congrats. But that was against the Patriots, who are pretty bad there offensively. They let the running game kind of get going. Maybe not a ton, but Drake May did run the ball very successfully. He had a couple touchdown passes. They did sack him 5 times, but he has a tendency to hold on to the ball. They generated, get this, guys, they generated 5 turnovers in the game and won by 7 points. That's wild. That is wild. So not super high on the Steelers coming into this game in terms of their injury report here. They're pretty banged up. Jaylen Warren is questionable for this game, so they could be without their starting running back in an already not great running back situation. They could be missing their starting tight end. On defense, they're going to be missing at least Alex Highsmith here. Could be missing Joey Porter Jr. there in the secondary. So not a lot of good news in terms of the injury situation right now for the Steelers. And, they've got the weird situation of playing this game in Dublin. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Steelers are getting 2.5 points. We've got a total of 41 in this game. Minnesota's 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the over. The Steelers are 1-2 against the spread, 2-1 to the over themselves. I don't have much of a lean on the total in this game. It can be a little bit weird to figure that out in these games, these international games, but I will take the Vikings here at -2.5. I think Carson Wentz looked really, really good last week. Still going to be under center in this one. I think that's a good thing for the Vikings here, so that makes me very, very happy. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a sitting duck back there going up against the Brian Flores defense that's going to blitz like crazy. Also, the favorites tend to do really well historically in these international games, so I'm definitely taking the Vikings here -2.5. This is a game that is certainly going in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Washington Commanders going on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons. The Commanders are 2-1 on the season. They haven't had the toughest schedule. Obviously, faced one of the toughest teams in the NFL there in the Packers, but a week 1 walkover there against the terrible Giants, that week 2 loss against the Packers, and then last week a 41-24 blowout there over the Raiders. Well played. The bad news for the Commanders is that Jaden Daniels won't be back for this game, but the good news is we liked a lot of what we saw from Marcus Mariota last week. 15 of 21, 207 passing yards, and 1 passing touchdown. He also ran the ball 6 times for 40 yards and a touchdown, all while only being sacked once. Now, they did this against the Raiders, not exactly the toughest defense, but a team that I think could be a little bit underrated at times. We'll be looking at the Raiders here in a little bit, don't worry. The running game looked very, very good. Obviously, Jeremy Nichols snapping off that 60-yard rush makes things look a lot better overall, but really a very good day there offensively from Washington, missing their best offensive player. Now, in defense, they had a lot of trouble against Geno Smith, giving up 3 passing touchdowns and almost 300 passing yards. They did sack him 5 times, so that's great, but I don't know, a little bit concerning there with what we saw defensively. They gave up 63 yards on 17 carries to Genty. Okay, that's not awful. They generated 0 turnovers. That's a bit of a concern. So we'll see if the Commanders are able to do a little bit better defensively this week. They come into this game, obviously McLaurin and Daniels both confirmed out. That is not great overall. We also see they're starting, Ja'Cory Crossett-Merritt. He could be out for this game too. He's listed as questionable there with that knee injury, but he did have full practice on Friday, so apparently he's going to be back. Noah Brown is confirmed out. Washington just not having very good injury luck, especially on offense so far this season. On defense, Percy Butler there at safety is going to be sidelined as well. So this will not be a full-strength Commanders team as they head to Atlanta to take on the Falcons, who suffered probably the most embarrassing loss in the NFL this season. They're 1-2 on the year. They played a very close game against Tampa Bay in week 1, beat J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings in week 2, but then last week got shut out 30-0 by the Carolina Panthers. That is nothing short of incredibly embarrassing, guys. Penix not looking good out there. 2 interceptions, 172 yards passing, completed 50% of his passes. He was so bad we actually saw Kirk Cousins out there under center, and he looked better if I'm being honest. The running game did work. Robinson, 72 yards on 13 carries, but you can't concentrate that much on the running game when you're down 10-0 at halftime and 20-0 in the third quarter. So yeah, a lot of negatives for Atlanta offensively last week. It did not look good. Nathan Carter fumbling the ball away once. That was bad. You can't turn the ball over 3 times and then generate 1 turnover of your own and really expect to have a great chance in an NFL game. Defensively, they slowed down the passing game, but could not stop Hubbard there in the running game. That was a problem. Gave up 2 rushing touchdowns in the game, and yeah, it was just pretty brutal stuff. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about the Falcons. They outgained the Panthers last week. Congrats on that, but it was not a very good week there for the Falcons. So we'll see if they've got a bounce back in them. They're going to be without Terrell this week. Losing one of their corners is not ideal. Offensively, they are fully healthy. I think maybe they'd be better off if they benched Penix and let Kirk Cousins get under center, but we'll see how he does this week. That should be the only starter missing for them this week. So yeah, their corner, their Terrell Jr., but we'll see. I think they are fairly healthy. How will they do in this game? Well, they're 2-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 43.5. Washington's 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the under. Atlanta's 1-2 against the spread. They're 3-0 to the under. With Jaden Daniels officially out for this game, I am going to be leaning a bit towards the Falcons. I don't love this spot. It's not going anywhere near the pinned comment, but it's a huge bounce back situation for them after that blowout loss that really, probably shouldn't have happened, honestly. Penix seems terrible to me, but still, I think this is a good spot to look at Atlanta here playing at home. In terms of the total, with both teams showing trends towards the under here in the early goings, and neither offense really, I don't know. This is a sketchy spot where nothing's going to go in the pinned comment, but I do think the under might have some value in this one as well. Hey guys, hopping here with a quick shout out to the sponsor today, and every day's video, and that is stumpthespread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are going to get the MLB, UFC, NFL, and college football picks. We've got NHL hockey right around the corner. We're running sales on full season NHL memberships over there at Stump the Spread, so get over there and check that out. We also have NBA right around the corner. This is one of the best times to sign up over there at Stump the Spread for the maximum bang for your buck. We're going to have so many sports going on right now. It's a great resource every single day. Tons of premium action in there and a very experienced team. Every single guy we have over there has at least a decade plus of experience covering his given sport. So you definitely want to get over there and check out everything we offer at stumpthespread.com. But if you're not interested in signing up for anything that costs anything, I totally get that. We have free resources for you over there as well. There are free picks, that are posted exclusively over there. Not free picks that are covered in these videos, free picks that are exclusively posted over there at stumpthespread.com. That's where you'll be able to find those picks. That's where you'll be able to use our free bet size calculator to make sure you're not blowing your whole bankroll on 1 or 2 days of games. Also, guys, that's where you can get on our free email newsletter. It's a great resource. It's one email straight to your inbox every single day with at least 1, oftentimes 2 or 3 free picks included. Parlays are included in those emails as well. Information on niche sports betting like golf, NASCAR, WNBA, tennis, all kinds of great stuff in there. You definitely got to get over to stumpthespread.com and get on that free email list. All it takes is your name and your email address to set up that free account, and you'll get 1 email every single day. Also, guys, you got to get over there and check out the premium stuff. I'm telling you, last week on the NFL side, a bunch of very solid picks going out. A very nice hit there on that Bryce Young touchdown. I think it was 7-1 or 8-1 on that. So that was a very nice hit. The Rams plus 4.5 did not come through as a 1-unit play there, but the under in that Pittsburgh New England play cashed. The Bengals didn't have a good time, so neither one of those Bengals related plays came through. But the Buccaneers as a 3-unit play, our biggest NFL play of the day, came through on the money line there. The first leg of that Baltimore-Kansas City parlay did hit. Unfortunately, Baltimore let us down there on the second leg, and the Chiefs, they came through for us as a nice win there. So not a bad week over there in week 4 there for the premium members. So you love to see it. Definitely got to get over there to stumpthespread.com and check that out. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us here every single day, you can click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get the name up on screen in every single video, but maybe more importantly, get access to our members only giveaways on the 29th. So here in just a day, we're going to be giving away another Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member. We'll spin the wheel. It'll have every single channel member's name on it, and whoever's name comes up on that wheel will get a Stump the Spread hoodie in their size mailed straight to their address of choice. I love doing these giveaways every single week, guys. You sign up for a channel membership for a month, you're immediately going to get at least 4 giveaways, unless you sign up at like a really weird time. But you'll get into 4 giveaways. So I think that's pretty cool. Love that way to give back to my YouTube channel members. But guys, we got a ton more games to cover on a very loaded NFL slate, so we got to dive right back in. Next up, we're going to be looking at the New Orleans Saints going on the road here to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Saints come into this game probably looking like the worst team in the NFL. They've got some competition down there at the bottom, but it's not looking great. 20-13 loss in week 1 against Arizona, 26-21 loss in week 2 against the 49ers, and last week getting blown out there by the Seahawks. Yeah, it's looking pretty bleak. I mean, in that loss against Seattle, we didn't love what we saw from Spencer Rattler. 28 of 39, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and sacked once. Kamara didn't have a good time getting things going in the running game. 42 yards on 18 carries. He's really their main offensive weapon. I mean, we did see Chris Olave catch 10 out of 14 targets for 57 yards. Yeah, 10 catches, 57 yards. Not exactly an offense that I'm enthralled with. Defensively, they look terrible, getting absolutely obliterated there by the Seahawks. Like, it's just not looking good. It is not looking good right now for these New Orleans Saints. In terms of the injury report for New Orleans, I'm not seeing anything, all that worrying. Chase Young is going to be out there, so they will be missing a pretty important piece on defense. But overall, guys, this team is just not very good. And that's why they're huge underdogs here going up against the Bills, who are 3-0 on the year. When you look at their schedule, it hasn't been that brutal. They did play Baltimore and had that insane comeback in week 1, beating the Jets and beating the Dolphins. Kind of foregone conclusions there for the Bills. So we'll see what they can do here in week 4. Once again, not getting tested. They really won't be tested again for a few weeks until they eventually take on the Chiefs, who we'll see how good they actually are. But in their win against Miami, I think that was the Thursday night game. Josh Allen was good. 3 touchdown passes, 2 sacks, 22 of 28. Very good stuff there. James Cook ran the ball really well. 19 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Dalton Kincaid was their leading receiver. The Bills did not turn the ball over in this game, so very good stuff there. On defense, that's where this team is worrying me a little bit. They gave up 2 touchdown passes against Tua, did have that 1 interception, did a mediocre job of holding A-Chain in check, so we'll see if they can do a little bit better job in this one, but it's not like they're going to be that tested here. In terms of their injury report, almost fully healthy there offensively, and Spencer Brown there on the offensive line could end up playing. Defensively, they're going to be missing at least 2 starters there in Ed Oliver and Matt Milano, so we'll see how things look. That is a little bit worrisome for me, or would be if they were playing against a real football team. So looking at the numbers here, no shock. The Bills, huge favorites, 15-point favorites here. We've got a total of 48. The Saints are 0-3 against the spread this year. They're 2-1 to the over. The Bills are 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the over. We're going to be leaning towards the Bills here. I'm not in love with this play necessarily. It feels a little bit chalky, and it's a very, very big favorite, but we've got some trends that back this up. Home teams that are 16-point favorites or bigger are 16-9 against the spread since the year 2000. Josh Allen, when he's a favorite at more than 10, though, is only 38% against the spread in his career. The Bills' defense is kind of banged up, so like I said, I'll take the Bills here to get the win and cover, but this is not a pin comment play. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Cleveland Browns going on the road to take on the Detroit Lions. The Browns come into this game fresh off their first win of the year, and it was a pretty crazy one. They get the 13-10 win against the Packers last week. Bonkers stuff. That 55-yard field goal as time expired to give him the win. Flacco, not loving what we saw from Flacco, if I'll be honest. I mean, 1 interception, 2 sacks, 142 yards, despite throwing the ball 36 times. We loved what we saw from the running game, though. The Cleveland running game really coming alive there. 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown, so you love to see that. I mean, obviously not a monster day from this team offensively, but defensively, holding the Packers to 10 points. They sacked Jordan Love 5 times and had an interception there. They completely bottled up the running game. It was a dominant performance there from a Cleveland defense that, especially when they're playing at home, is amazing. Now, they've got to go on the road in this one, but we'll see. Obviously, the defense is looking really, really good in terms of the injury report for the Browns. Could be missing Jack Conklin there on the offensive line. That's the only major injury problem there on the offense. On defense, they're looking fully healthy. So that's a big deal. The defense is where this team is the strongest. We'll see what they're able to do here against the Lions. Now, Detroit comes into this game. They lost in week 1 against the Packers, but a blowout win against the Bears in week 2. A nice, pretty comfortable win, if I'm being honest. They're in Baltimore over the Ravens in week 3. This team is suddenly looking very, very good once again. In that win over the Ravens, we loved what we saw there from Goff. 1 touchdown, 20 of 28, and 202 yards. But more importantly than that, the Lions got back to that smash mouth style of offense that you love to see from them. Feels like they can't lose when they can run the ball like this. I mean, David Montgomery, 12 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 22 carries, 67 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, just dominant stuff. They were more than happy to win these games in the trenches, and win in the trenches they did. On defense, they sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. They did give up 3 passing touchdowns and 288 yards through the air, so it wasn't necessarily a banner day. They slowed down but did not stop. Derrick Henry kind of kept Lamar limited there in the running game, so really just a very, very good night. They did generate that 1 turnover, and yeah, a 38-30 win that was kind of more like a 2 touchdown win than a 1 touchdown win. So loved what we saw from the Lions. We'll see what they are looking like here in terms of injuries. It's not that bad. Taylor Decker there is questionable on the offensive line. We do see Muhammad questionable there at defensive end, but other than that, they're healthy and ready to go for this game, which is a pretty good look. Now, looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Lions are -10 or -9.5 if you look around. We've got a total of 44.5. Cleveland's 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the under. Detroit is 2-1 against the spread and 2-1 to the over. Guys, we're going to go ahead and take the Lions here at -9.5. If you take them at -9.5, you might have to pay -120, but we don't mind that at all. Definitely anything under 10 seems amazing. Anything over 10, but anything under 10, we're more than happy to slam it here on the Lions. I was 1 week early on them in week 1, but they continue to look better and better here as the season goes on. I think we're going to see the Browns have a lot of trouble offensively in this game. I don't think the defense is going to look nearly as good here on the road. I definitely like the Lions to get a blowout win at home. Next up, guys, we've got the Carolina Panthers going on the road to take on the New England Patriots. The Panthers just got their first win of the season in that 30-0 shutout there against Atlanta. Overall, they haven't looked great, losing to Jacksonville, losing to Arizona, but then that win against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, congrats. That was a dominant win. Now, Bryce Young, only 121 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, only sacked once. The running game and the defense are what really did the work in this game, but Bryce Young did run for a touchdown, so cool, and that also cashed a nice little prop play there for the premium members. Overall, the Panthers played well in that game. They did turn the ball over once, but generated 3 turnovers. But yeah, 3 turnovers over their own and gave up 0 points, slowing down but not stopping the run and really limiting the passing game, albeit the passing game of a terrible passing quarterback. So we'll see what they're able to do in this week against, I would say, similar strength team there in the New England Patriots. The problem for the Panthers in this game is tons of injuries. Hubbard, questionable. McMillan, questionable. Legette, out. And Sanders out. So this is not going to be a full strength offense at all for the Panthers. On defense, they're missing at least 2 starters as well. A couple linebackers going to be out, so that could leave them pretty susceptible to the run. We'll see what they're able to do here against the Patriots. They come into this game fresh off of a pretty disappointing 21-14 loss there against Pittsburgh. They lost against the Raiders, beat the Dolphins, and then lost to Pittsburgh. We'll see if they're able to bounce back from that tough loss in this one. Drake May has been a little bit underwhelming this year, although last week passing for 268 yards and a couple touchdowns. He was sacked 5 times, though, and seems to hold on to the ball just a little bit long. Fumbles, huge problem for this team. They fumbled the ball 4 times and lost all of them last week, so that's a bit unlucky, but you can't be putting the ball on the deck that often. So we'll see if they can bounce back from an mistake-riddled week last week. Defensively, giving up only 21 points isn't terrible, but when that's against the Steelers and, old man Aaron Rodgers, I lose a little bit of my enthusiasm for you. So we'll see what they can do out there in this one. In terms of the injury report, going to be missing at least 1 starting offensive lineman, maybe 2. Defensively, a couple guys on the report. Could be missing 1 member of the secondary and 1 linebacker, but those guys are questionable. There's a chance they play in this game. Looking at the numbers for this one, guys, the Patriots are 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 43.5 in this game. Carolina's 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the under. New England 1-2 against the spread, 2-1 to the under themselves. Both teams are pretty banged up. Neither team has looked good this season. Carolina's coming off of that shocking and insane blowout against Atlanta, so they are in a massive letdown spot. If this could maybe get to 6, then we could feel better about taking Carolina, but without that, I'm going to fade them and take New England here at -5.5. This isn't a play I love. Definitely not going anywhere near the pinned comment. I don't trust either one of these teams. That's part of the reason I do think under 43.5 is a reasonable lean in this game. We've got some small early season trends that point towards the under, and both teams are pretty bad at football, so the under seems reasonable. Next up, guys, we got a pretty interesting matchup between the Los Angeles Chargers and the New York Giants. The Chargers have looked great this year. Wins against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Raiders, and last week a 23-20 win there against Denver. That was a very close game, but the Chargers do come out on top in that one. Now they're 3-0. Herbert did get picked off once, but passed for 300 yards. The scary thing is he got sacked 5 times. Not something I'm looking to see him repeat. We loved what we saw from Hampton there in the running game. 19 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Very good stuff. Quentin Johnson had a good day catching the ball. A lot of positives for the Chargers, and they win this game despite turning the ball over twice, something that you're going to look to see them limit here this week. That was not a great look. On defense, giving up 20 points is not a bad day. They really held Bo Nix, the passing game, in check. Gave up quite a bit to J.K. Dobbins, but if you take that 141-yard rush, that mistake made things look a lot worse. Courtland Sutton did kind of torch them there, catching 6 out of 8 balls for 120 yards, but overall, it wasn't a terrible day defensively there from the Chargers, and they're going up against a much worse defense and a rookie first start of his career quarterback here. So we'll see what they can do. I'm generally expecting good stuff from the Chargers in terms of their injury report. Will Disley being out isn't great there, missing your starting tight end and going to be missing at least 1 member there of the offensive line. But when you're going up against the Giants, that doesn't exactly feel like the end of the world to me. Defensively, the Chargers are at full strength, so that is a pretty big deal. I think that's going to be definitely helpful here against the Giants. They come into this game still looking for their first win of the season. They got blown out by Washington in week 1, lost a crazy weird nail biter against Dallas in week 2, and they got blown out by the Chiefs last week. We're going to see what Jackson Dart can do here. I'm not usually very on board backing a rookie starting quarterback that's not an absolute phenom in his first NFL start. So we'll see what he can do. I was not very enthused with what I saw from the Giants last week. Obviously, Russell Wilson looked terrible. Cam Scatterbo, he's fun to watch, but I don't exactly see him putting up 1,000,000 yards here against the Chargers. And yeah, I mean, guys like Malik Neighbors, they got to have somebody get them the ball. And Darius Slayton, they got to have somebody get them the ball if they're going to find success. So not super high on the Giants offensively this week, and defensively giving up 22 points to the offensively limited Chiefs. Not a great look. Managed to give up 105 rushing yards to the Chiefs. That's hard to do for this Chiefs team. And defensively giving up a lot of passes, and it should have been way worse. Mahomes missed some deep balls in that game, and it just was not overall a great look. So not very high on the Giants coming into this game at all. They are healthy on offense. So take that for what it's worth. They are going to be missing at least one guy on the defensive line, so that's not ideal, but relatively healthy. But looking at the numbers here, the Giants are getting 6.5 points. We've got a total of 43.5. The Chargers are 2-0-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the under. The Giants are 1-2 against the spread and 2-1 to the under themselves. Guys, I like the Chargers here, minus 6.5 a lot. I think they'll get the winning cover pretty easily. Jackson Dart not going to have a great game his first time out there. The Chargers have been very good this season. Herbert's looked incredible and will obliterate this horrible Giants defense. The Chargers are going to be missing one starting offensive lineman. That's not great, but I don't think that's going to matter enough. I think they comfortably win this one, probably closer to 2 touchdowns than the 1 touchdown we need. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles are 3-0 to start the year with wins over Dallas, Kansas City, and the Rams. A very nice but very lucky win against the Rams last week. The Eagles really should have lost that game. The Rams were lining up to, finish this thing off, and the Eagles take it back for a touchdown. Very, very crazy stuff. We'll see what they are able to do this week. Last week, we saw Jalen Hurts take some big shots. He did pass for 3 touchdowns and 226 yards, so that's great, but he was also sacked 4 times, and we'll see. It's starting to get a little bit concerning what we're not seeing from Saquon Barkley. 18 carries for 46 yards last week and no touchdowns. Not having a great time. A.J. Brown did have a big day, so that was very helpful, but their inability to run the ball is starting to be a concern. In terms of their defense, giving up 26 points to the Rams isn't awful, but they couldn't stop the run, which could be a problem here against the Buccaneers. We'll see. They also couldn't stop Puka Nacua. That might even be a bigger concern. So we'll see what the Eagles are able to do out there in this game. They come into it looking a little bit banged up, not necessarily offensively, but going to be missing at least one starting cornerback. So that's not great. You want to be at full strength, when especially in the secondary, when you're taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also 3-0 on the year. Now, their schedule hasn't been nearly as tough, beating Atlanta, Houston, and the Jets, and it was a close one against the Jets, but despite taking some injuries, looks like the Buccaneers are going to be fairly healthy for this one. But in their game against the Jets, Baker magic, guys. 19 of 29, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, sacked 1 time. Also ran the ball 4 times for 44 yards. Bucky Irving didn't have an amazing time on the ground. 25 carries for 66 yards, but I'm expecting him to get plenty of work in this one. The wide receiver group is looking really good for Tampa Bay. A decent week last week. I'm expecting even better things this week. Defensively, they did an okay job holding Tyrod Taylor in check. Picked him off once, sacked him 4 times, stopped the running attack, which is very key, and also made him fumble it away once. So a pretty decent day from the Buccaneers defensively, despite giving up 27 points. Now, in terms of their injury report, a lot of guys on there, but we're getting quite a bit of news. Now, Mike Evans is going to be out, but Chris Godwin Jr. will play. It also appears that they're going to be healthy there on the offensive line. Defensively, Logan Hall is going to be potentially out for this game. We'll see if there's any updates. Oh no, it sounds like a pretty good chance at being back. We don't have any news on whether or not he practiced, but I do expect him to play in this game. Looking at the numbers here, guys, the Buccaneers are getting 3.5 points at home. We've got a total of 44.5 in this game. The Eagles are 2-1 against the spread, 2-1 to the under. Tampa Bay is 2-1 against the spread and 2-1 to the under themselves. I'm going to be leaning towards the Buccaneers here, getting 3.5 points. And this is going on the list as a potential dog of the day because we're more than happy to fade the public here who's going to come in on the Eagles. I really like getting the hook there. That's helpful. The injuries were a little bit more concerning for the Buccaneers, but it seems like that's going to be okay here. And the heat in Tampa this time of the year is going to be a big plus. The Buccaneers are used to it. The Eagles coming down from Philly are not going to be prepared for it to feel like 100 degrees out there on the field in this one. So that's a big help. They're going to be missing at least their star. I guess they're going to be missing their 1 and 2 cornerbacks. So that's pretty bad. And yeah, getting the 3.5 here, definitely helpful. And getting Baker as a dog always feels good. So yeah, the Buccaneers here getting 3.5 could be our dog of the day. Next up, guys, you're looking at something of a toilet bowl. We've got the Tennessee Titans going on the road to take on the Houston Texans. The Titans are 0-3 on the year, losing to Denver, the Rams, and the Colts, getting blown out 41-20 by the Colts last week. Probably didn't feel great. They didn't do a good job in that game, obviously. Cam Ward, I mean, he did a few positive things, I guess, but not enough to get me excited. And he was picked off once and sacked 4 times. Tony Pollard, I mean, it's hard to run the ball when they know you're going to run the ball. 16 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Nothing cooking majorly there in the wide receiver room. And defensively, they didn't have any answers for the Colts. But no one has had any answers for the Colts yet this year. So I'm not going to be too hard on the Titans for not having a good time against a Colts team that's looking amazing this season. In terms of the injury situation for the Titans coming into this game, they're relatively healthy. Going to be missing Latham there on the offensive line, but other than that, they are healthy and ready to go for this game. And they're going to be going on the road here to take on an AFC South opponent here in the Houston Texans, who are also 0-3 to start their season. A little bit more surprising 0-3. They played a close game against the Rams in Week 1, lost a 1-point game against Tampa Bay in Week 2, and then made some key mistakes there to lose 17-10 against Jacksonville last week. It wasn't a great showing there from the Texans. CJ Stroud looks like he is terrified back there, I'll be honest. He got picked off twice, only sacked twice, but he looks like he's scared he's going to get sacked every single time he drops back. So that's a pretty big concern. We see Nico Collins finally getting loose, having a 100-plus yard game and catching a touchdown pass. The running game isn't looking amazing, but Chubb did have 38 yards on 9 carries, so seems like he might be figuring things out here. Defensively, giving up 17 points is great. Held Trevor Lawrence completing only half his passes and picked him off once and sacked him twice. Slowed down the running attack. Really a good enough job from the defense to win. The offense just couldn't get things going. So we'll see what the Texans can do this week. In terms of the injury report, they're looking very healthy on offense. Could be missing one of their starting cornerbacks. We'll see if he's maybe... Yeah, Stingley Jr., questionable officially. We don't have word on whether or not he practiced yet. So we'll see. I do think there's a good chance that he ends up playing in this game. So looking at the numbers here, guys, the Texans are 7.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 38.5 in this game. The Titans are 1-2 against the spread, 2-1 to the over. Houston 0-3 against the spread, 3-0 to the under. There's some conflicting trends here, guys. The Titans are 3-17 against the spread with Brian Callahan as their head coach spanning last season and this season. The Titans' offensive line is pretty bad, and the Texans can kind of get after the passer. CJ Stroud, though, has been terrible. Seems like he's scared back there. The Titans' biggest weakness is their inability to stop the run, but Houston can't really run the ball anyway, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to be siding here towards the Tennessee Titans getting 7.5. I know, not a fun spot to bet. This is a bet, and then don't even watch this game. I say that I won't have much involved here with the Titans. This isn't a game that's going in the pinned comment or anything like that, but I do think they are the value side in this game. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Indianapolis Colts going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Colts are 3-0 to start the year. Kind of shocking 3-0, but when you look at their schedule, it loses a little bit of its luster. I mean, a 33-8 win against Miami in Week 1, a 1-point win against Denver in Week 2, and then that 41-20 beat down against Tennessee last week. Things are looking great. Daniel Jones is looking like a monster behind a decent offensive line. Sacked 0 times last week and threw a touchdown pass. Jonathan Taylor's looking like an absolute monster with 3 rushing touchdowns last week on 17 carries and 102 yards. Michael Pittman Jr. had a big day catching the ball, and the defense looked great out there. So really, I don't have anything negative to say about the Colts, except for their schedules looked a little bit weak. Now, in terms of their injury report, going to be missing Pierce there, so missing your number 2 wide receiver isn't ideal. Going to be missing 1 starting offensive lineman as well. On defense, they're healthy, except for DeForest Buckner is questionable there, and also Kenny Moore, the second, is going to be missing there in the secondary. So not really a full-strength Colts defense as they go on the road to take on the Rams, who are 2-1 on the year. Their only wins this season have been against pretty weak opponents, but they all but won that game against the Eagles last week. Like, a blocked kick return for a touchdown is pretty brutal stuff. You expect especially the way this season's gone in general, you expect those game-winning kicks to go in. A 33-26 loss, though, is what goes on the record. Stafford had a mediocre day. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked once, only completed 19 out of 33 passes, though. Kyron Williams looked like a monster running the ball. So did Corum. He had 8 carries for 53 yards. So very, very good day offensively in general. Puka Nacua over 100 receiving yards. Devontae Adams took a bit of a step back, but did catch a touchdown pass. Defensively, that's where the problems were. Jalen Hurts had 3 passing touchdowns in the game. They did stop the Saquon Barkley rushing attack, but that's kind of a different deal. Jalen Hurts did run for a touchdown as well, so we'll see what they can do. The Rams couldn't stop A.J. Brown in the passing game, so they may have their work cut out for them here against the Colts. And looking at looking at the injury report for the Rams, Devontae Adams is questionable for this game. Tyler Higbee is questionable there at tight end, and Havestein is questionable there on the offensive line. Now, Higbee and Devontae Adams, it appears Devontae Adams might be able to play. I don't think he'll be at 100% because he was very limited in practice there on Friday. Higbee, that hip injury, apparently not a big concern, so he is going to be ready to go for this game. On the defensive side of the ball, they are fully healthy, so that's nice, but it's not like the Rams have been a defensive juggernaut. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Rams are actually 3.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 49.5 in this game. The Colts are 3-0 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the over. The Rams are 2-1 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the over themselves. I'm not going to be taking over 49.5 in this game, so I guess I lean slightly towards under. The pros seem a bit, like the smart money seem a bit split on this game. The Colts are actually pretty good, but some weak opponents this season, obviously. Seems like a pretty good matchup for the Rams, but can they slow down the Colts offense, both through the air and on the ground? The Colts are going to be missing potentially 3 starters in this game, but still, guys, I'm going to be leaning just a bit here towards the Colts. Do I think the Rams probably find a way to win this game? They are going to be at home, so maybe, but I do worry about their ability to stop the Colts rushing attack and just to kind of stop the Colts offense in general. So I will lean towards the Colts here, getting 3.5 points a little bit. Will it make the pinned comment? I'm not sure, but it's at least going on the list as a potential dog of the day. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars headed to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The Jaguars come into this game 2-1 on the year, but when your wins are against Carolina and Houston and your loss was to the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to have a hard time finding many positive things to say about your team. Last week, in their win over the Jaguars, we saw Trevor Lawrence pass for 222 yards, completed 50% of his 40 passes, and was picked off once through 0 touchdowns. Not a great day. The running game didn't look amazing either. Travis Etienne Jr., 16 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown, isn't terrible, but also isn't great. So we'll see if they're able to step it up a little bit here offensively. This is not a group that I'm in love with. Obviously, on defense, they only gave up 10 points. That was against the Houston Texans. So let's not throw them a parade. They had a couple interceptions. They limited the running game a bit, but overall, it was just a lot of Houston being terrible out there. So we'll see what the Jaguars can do this week going up against a much more competent opponent. Brown could be out there wide receiver, so missing your third best wide receiver isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. Defensively, they are pretty healthy for this game, and they're going to need it here as they go up against the 49ers, who are 3-0 on the year with wins over the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Arizona Cardinals. And those last 2 games was without their starting quarterback. Now they're going to have Brock Purdy back, and that is a big, big deal for this outfit. Last week, maybe they were a little bit lucky to get past the Cardinals, but that was with Mac Jones under center. We saw Christian McCaffrey continue to stay healthy and continue to look pretty good out there. Ricky Pershaw had a big day, and McCaffrey being so dynamic in the passing game now is a huge, huge deal. So we'll see what they do this week. Obviously, defensively, did a good job of slowing down the Cardinals' passing attack, slowing down the run. Did a good job against Marvin Harrison Jr. and just in general, a very reasonable day there defensively for the 49ers. Now, in terms of their injury report, Brock Purdy being back is a big deal. Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pershaw both being on the injury report is not great, but we were very confident that both of them will play. Connor Colby, questionable there on the offensive line. Seems like he's probably going to be ready to go too. On defense, Renardo Green at cornerback, we'll see if he ends up suiting up. He is officially questionable for this game, and we don't have news yet whether or not he has practiced. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but I do think there's a decent chance the 49ers are going to be much healthier than this injury report looks come game time. So looking at the numbers here, guys, the 49ers are 3.5-point favorites at home, a total of 46.5 in this game. The Jaguars are 2-1 against the spread, 2-1 to the under. The 49ers are 2-1 against the spread and 2-1 to the under themselves. Guys, I love the 49ers here, -3.5. Brock Purdy confirmed back for this game is great. He looked great in practice, both under center and in the shotgun, and apparently was fine throwing on the run as well. Both 49ers injured wide receivers practice on Friday. Seems like they're going to be back out there. Jacksonville is 3-13 against the spread when going from East Coast to West Coast, and that's over the last 20 years. I love the 49ers here at -3.5. This could potentially be our lock of the day. I think they're going to win this one walking away. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens going on the road to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens 1-2 on the season, off to a rough start, but, with losses to Buffalo and Detroit in relatively competitive games, you got to give them a little bit of slack. Last week against the Lions, things didn't go amazing, obviously. Lamar had a great game, liked in general what we saw from Derrick Henry. Mark Andrews had a great day catching the ball, like a lot of positives, but the problem for this team is their lack of defense. They gave 38 points, sacked Jared Goff 0 times, 0 interceptions, gave 151 and 67 rushing yards respectively to that two-headed monster there in the Detroit rushing game, and generated 0 turnovers. You're just going to have a hard time winning games when you strictly have to outscore your opponents. So that's why the Ravens have struggled. They're relatively healthy on offense, could be missing 1 offensive lineman. On defense, I'm not sure if it matters how healthy or unhealthy they are. Maybe some of these second stringers should be getting a little bit more run because things have been looking pretty bleak, but could be missing a couple starters. So we'll see what they do here on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, who just got their first win of the season last week, taking down the Giants 22-9. So we'll see how this week goes. Obviously, close losses against the Chargers and the Eagles to start the year. The Chiefs in that win over the Giants didn't look incredible to me, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, we liked what we saw from Mahomes, 22 of 37 and a touchdown, but did miss a couple deep balls once again. Pacheco did get something going there in the running game, but doesn't look the same. Kareem Hunt had some decent runs as well, but nothing too special. They are getting a little bit healthy here. That's a big step in the right direction for the Chiefs offensively. Now, defensively, they did a great job against Russell Wilson and the Giants, but let's not actually we're throwing anybody a parade for playing defense well against the New York Giants. Now, in terms of the injury report for the Chiefs this week, it's looking much, much better. Xavier Worthy back. Obviously, no Rashee Rice back from suspension yet, but other than that, they're healthy. That should be a good step forward for the defense there for the Chiefs. Or offense for the Chiefs. Defensively, Mike Dana could be out for this game, but other than that, the defense is healthy as well. So, looking at the numbers here, the Chiefs are actually getting 2.5 points at home. We've got a total of 48.5 in this game. Baltimore's 1-2 against the spread. They're 3-0 to the over. The Chiefs are 1-2 against the spread and 2-1 to the under. I actually think over 48.5 is live in this game. Both offenses should get going here without too much trouble. But in terms of a side, I'm going to lean just a bit towards the Ravens here at -2.5. Their defense looks terrible, but I don't know if the Chiefs' offense is actually good enough to take advantage of that. They've got no running game, really no great pass-catching options unless Worthy can just go nuts out there in his first game back. Can the Chiefs' defense even slow down Lamar and Derrick Henry? Seems like a big ask to me. I definitely think the Ravens are the way to go. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Bears heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Bears at 1-2 on the season just got their first win of the year, that 31-14 beat down against Dallas. They did keep week 1 close against the Vikings with a terrible quarterback under center. Week 2, they got dismantled by Detroit, so getting that win against Dallas, definitely a big step in the right direction. A little bit of faith potentially restored here in Caleb Williams, but keep in mind he threw those 4 touchdown passes against probably the worst defense in the NFL. Swift looked mediocre there in the running game. Obviously, the passing game, all the wide receivers having good days, but we'll see what they can do here against definitely better than the Cowboys kind of defense. Defensively, giving up 14 points to the Cowboys. It was a very good day. A couple of interceptions there against Dak. Did struggle against the running attack, though, quite a bit. So we'll see what they do this week defensively. The Bears defense, not nearly as good as the hype surrounding them coming into this year. DeAndre Swift could be out for this game. He's officially questionable there with that hip injury. He was a limited participant in practice Wednesday and Friday, so we'll see. He'll probably play. Will he be at 100%? That might be a big ask. Other than him, Darnell Wright going to be officially out, so they won't be 100% on the offensive line, and defensively they're going to be missing at least 2 starters, potentially 3 starters for this game. So that's not great, going on the road missing some starters. Good news is they're taking on a pretty bad Raiders team that is 1-2 on the year after beating New England in week 1, lost to the Chargers, and then lost to Washington last week in a blowout against a backup quarterback. So not a great look there. Geno Smith had a great day, though, passing for nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he was sacked 5 times. Genty did a good job, too. Trey Tucker, a massive day there, catching 8 of 9 targets for 3 touchdowns and 145 yards. So we'll see what they do here in terms of a bounce back. Obviously going up against a pretty weak opponent in the Bears. They couldn't do much defensively. That is a big concern. Couldn't stop the pass, couldn't stop the run, only generated 1 turnover in that game. In terms of their health, the Raiders come into this game looking very, very healthy. Full strength on offense, full strength on defense. Even early in the season, being at full strength, kind of a cheat code. So look at the numbers. The Raiders are -1.5. We've got a total of 48 in this game. The Bears are 1-2 against the spread and 2-1 to the over. The Raiders are 1-2 against the spread and 2-1 to the under. Guys, I'll take the Raiders here at -1.5, and I like it quite a bit. Maybe enough to put in the pinned comment, because the Bears usually struggle after being, coming off a big win like that, especially when they have great quarterback play involved. Since 2018, they are 6-10 straight up and 5-11 against the spread after they've had quarterback throw for 3+ touchdowns. Caleb Williams faced 0 pass rush last week and looked great. I don't think that's going to happen in this one. It's a great spot to fade the public, who's going to come in huge on the Bears, who looked so good a week ago. The Raiders haven't been good, but playing at home, I think they're in very good shape in this game. So definitely the Raiders are going on the list. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Green Bay Packers going on the road to take on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Packers come into this game 2-1 on the year, fresh off a embarrassing loss, a 13-10 loss against the Cleveland Browns. They are going to be a little bit banged up for this game, and that's part of the reason they lost against Cleveland. But man, that was pretty brutal. You didn't expect Green Bay to come out and lay an egg like that, losing 13-10, and yeah, 1 touchdown, 1 interception for Jordan Love. Not a great day for him, and he was sacked 5 times. Gonna have to figure that out, especially if they're going to be missing offensive linemen in this game. But that Browns defense is built different, guys, especially playing at home. Josh Jacobs Jacobs, a terrible day running the ball. He's in need of a bounce back, and just in general, the offense has to play better. Now, defensively, they were very good. Giving up 13 points is great. 1 interception and 2 sacks against Flacco. They did struggle a little bit against the running attack, but I don't know how big of a concern that is going up against the Dallas Cowboys in this one. Now, the injury report is a big deal here for the Packers. I do worry about the offensive line situation, but there's a chance we could see Aaron Banks play in this game. It's a bit of an outside chance, but there's a chance. Defensively, they're very healthy for this game. Could be at 100%. And the defense is very, very good. This is not a slouch of a defense there for the Packers. Now, we'll see what they can do here taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who are pretty bad. Turns out they're pretty bad. Weirdly close loss there against the Eagles in week 1. Barely beating the Giants there in week 2, and we've seen how bad the Giants have looked, and then getting blown out 31-14 against the Bears last week. That's a pretty big yikes. CeeDee Lamb injured. Dak Prescott, 2 interceptions last week. 251 yards isn't bad, but Javonte Williams running the ball well, but all that didn't keep this game close. Jake Ferguson looking like their go-to wide receiver right now is not what you wanted to hear, especially with George Pickens coming in. Like, the idea was that he would give him a huge boost. Hasn't been that huge of a boost. And now with no CeeDee Lamb to take the pressure off, not a lot of good news for Dallas. Defensively, they got torched by Caleb Williams, who they couldn't put any pressure on. So will they even be able to pressure Jordan Love behind a decimated offensive line? Seems like a bit of a big ask. They just slowed down but didn't stop the running attack. Like, I don't have a lot of good stuff to say about this Dallas defense at all. Might be the worst defense in the National Football League. And looking at the injury report, CeeDee Lamb being out, like I said, that's not great. They're going to be missing at least 1 starting offensive lineman. Defensively, they're fully healthy, but I mean, this fully healthy defense is maybe the worst defense in football. So, looking at the numbers, the Cowboys are getting 6.5 points at home. We've got a total of 46.5 in this game. The Packers are 2-1 against the spread. They're 3-0 to the under. Dallas is 1-2 against the spread. They're 2-1 to the under. Guys, I don't care if this is going to be a public spot or not public spot for the Packers. I love Green Bay in this spot. LaFleur is great against Dallas throughout his career, so that's very concerning here if you're a Cowboys fan. Packers are a much better team. It's a huge bounce back spot for them after that terrible loss against Cleveland. Dallas going to be banged up for sure. I think we're going to see, CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Booker both being out is a big deal for them. Definitely give me the Packers here -6.5. Guys, that's all the games we have here on Sunday. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and let me know in the comments any questions you have about today's games. I'm more than happy to get back to you. I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Make sure you're clicking the link in the description to get over there to stumpthespread.com. We've got a ton of premium NFL plays over there and lots of player props, all kinds of good stuff in there. So definitely get over there and check that out. Get on that free email list. Check out all the good stuff we offer there over at stumpthespread.com. Guys, we'll see you right back here tomorrow where we'll go over the entire Monday Night Football slate, those 2 Monday Night Football games. We'll have tons of player props for you on that one, and you know where to find us. Same time, same place tomorrow for more sports betting action.